Welcome to another Tableau tutorial video. I'm Weston Palmer. Let's get started. But first, a thank you to my Patreon supporters. I love the interaction and feedback. All right, for this final one, I've spent some time thinking about what I want it to look like. And so I'm kind of excited. So we're going to create another, duplicate this, and we're just going to call this program diversity. And just like we did for recruiting in the previous one, we're going to call this recruitment by state. Oh no, recruitment program diversity anywhere university. Now what I want to do, I want to use some of these other charts that I had previously. We're going to duplicate gender. Actually, we're just going to program diversity. We're going to move this over. And we're just going to get rid, well, we're going to leave that for now. So we want, I have it written out in my mind, and that's actually a good thing, is to think about what you want things to look like in your mind. And we're going to do that. We're going to duplicate. I'm going to call this one race pie chart. And I'm not intending to, I hope I don't offend anybody. I'm going to create a group. And we're going to have, well, I apologize. We're going to have a white and non-white. No, you know what? We're not going to do that. We're just going to bring race onto color. Now it does become a little bit messy here. Let's get rid of the number enrolled. And we're going to put race instead on the label. And we're going to allow people to overlap. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to make this, it's not going to work great, but we're going to have to make this a little bit bigger. And see if we can move this over a little bit. It's not perfect, but it'll do for now. All right, and then we're going to create another one. We're going to call this one first gen, and we're going to do something very similar. But it doesn't sound like we're going to actually come in here and do the alias. And we're going to change null from null to, actually let's change this to first gen. Probably need to make this chart a little bit bigger as well so you can see it. Oop, you see that bar? Make it a little bit bigger. And we're going to get rid of this chart there. Ooh. And we're going to actually try and fit entire view. And we're going to bring the first generation pie chart over. We're going to have this fit view. Get rid of these. And we're going to bring race pie. We're going to fit entire view. Let's see, let's get rid of, well, you can't, I don't know if you can see it. There's some other containers that are here. So we're going to we're trying to get rid of those. Fit entire. We're going to make this a little smaller so it fits the entire square. And then when you're doing this point of the dashboard, you're doing a lot of formatting stuff. It's not appreciated, but it's important. And we're just come up here. Now, I thought what had happened, format title, shade white. Okay, there we go. We're going to shade the white on all of these. And what we're going to do to make, so you can kind of see, edit the table. Let's get this in the middle. Edit the table. We don't need race pi. We're just going to call racial diversity. And put this in the middle. Looks pretty good, actually, I think. Now, what I want to do is actually, we might want to go in and make these different pie charts a little bit bigger so that it fits. Before I do that, though, I'm going to come into gender, and I'm going to look at major academic. One of these has got program. So let's look at, we're going to describe this. So that's not the one we want. We're looking down here for with the different types of things. Program name. That'll be good enough for now. Major code name, let's try that. Yeah, that's more of what we're looking for. All right, so we're going, oops, not copy. I don't want to copy it. I'm going to bring it up here, and we're just going to pick accountings just so we have one. And we actually want this to, we want it to filter the same for the gender, for the race pi, and for the first gen pi. So when we make one change, all of them change. And we can come in here now and let's get rid of, get the color off there. This here, and I'm going to make this blue. Remember, we're doing this to organize it. So when I quickly look at this, I can tell, when I look at this, I can quickly tell, okay, these are dashboards that are together. These are dashboards together. Now, how do I get the program up here now that I've already got, now that I already have the dashboard, the worksheets up here. Now I want to add the program. Come under analysis. We have to pick one of the items. Analysis, let's pick filter, and we're going to look at program. All right, so this is all, it's actually bigger than I was thinking. So we're going to bring this over. I thought it would fit nicely in this section here. And let's come under layout. We're going to see this height is 1500. The whole sheet's only 800 long, so let's just pick 750. So we need it a little bit shorter. Let's pick 725. Okay, that looks pretty good. So a couple things are going to happen here. We're going to have to change this background so you can actually see all these words. So let's just change it to, I think that's the same background. We can find out real quick. It's at the top. So when we come here, let's pick the top as well. I know it's a small thing, but it is a small thing that allows you to say, okay, it looks professional. We're also going to change this, change the title. We're going to change this to program/major. So people know. We're also only going to let you to pick. These still are not very big, huh? All right, so let's just widen this out. That's probably good. We can see all of them now. And now with those widened out, now we're going to have to move these items over. I'm selecting the shift key. I thought I was. Okay, I guess you can't do it that way. I'm going to move that one over. I'm going to move this one over. This is where I like to have a little more symmetry. But one thing you can do, Y127, 128, so let's make that 127, 128, make that 127. Now I'm looking at the width, 324, 342, 340, 334, 312. So let's make this 334. Actually, I'm just typing in 334. Going to make this one 334. And now we'll maybe move this one over a little bit more. All right, so now we've got the beginning of this program diversity. And what we're going to do also is we're going to change this so that you can only select one. So we're going to have select one. It's multiple values here. We're going to just have select one. So you can just come through here and look at these. And one thing that I'm noticing is that this has numbers, but I don't know, I can tell, but I need to go in and change this so it says male, female. And we're going to come under gender description, put that under the label, and get rid of the count. And we got the percentage. The next thing I was looking at is, okay, is the percentage above the label? And it is. Civil engineering, that's actually interesting. So one thing you could do, and maybe we will do that here, is you could put in total student count. But what I really want to do is down here, I want to show by different classes. And so I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to get rid of the race. I'm going to leave the enrolled students, the class. I'm going to get rid of the gender for now. I only want to show the first 4. So I'm going to do filter. And I'm going to get rid of all of them except for freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. All right. And this is where it's going to get exciting. Program breakout, program class. Come back here. Program class, going to bring that over. I want it as wide. I want it to fill up this whole bottom section. And I think I'm going to get rid of the program class. I'm going to hide that. I'm going to get rid of this label here. Eventually, I'm going to get rid of this. What I want to be able to do is, let's go under civil engineering. I want to be able to click on a chart and have this chart now show gender or diversity, racial diversity, or first generation students. Is this going to get a little more complicated? We're going to come back to program class. I'm going to change this to blue. We're going to create a parameter. We're going to call this diversity parameter. Change this to a string. We're going to let this be anything. We select OK for now. And then we are going to create three other calculated fields. Call this parameter gender. And I'll show you why I'm doing this here in a second. So you're right, I haven't actually calculated anything. I've set every value. So if you imagine the columns, let's actually go take a look and see what I'm doing here. If we scroll over far enough to all the calculated field, you can see now that this is going to be first gen for all of them. This is gender for all of them, and this is race for all of them. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the dashboard. I'm going to do an action. We just want this sheet. I wish it would just default to that. And we're going to set the parameter value. So on the first one, we're going to just do, it says first gen, so we'll select first gen. And we're going to set the target parameter, the diversity parameter. What's the source? Oh, I need to add that parameter to each of those. Because what's going to happen is we're going to set the parameter, which is then going to drive what diversity colors get added to this. Don't know why that's doing that. So we come to gender. So we're going to put the parameter on detail so that it can reference it. You'll notice that nothing happened, nothing changed. Going to do the same thing here. We're going to parameter race on details. Nothing changed on here. And then first generation, because it's all the same value. So nothing changed. And now when we come here, we can go back to the dashboard actions. We're going to set the parameter value. Select first gen. Get rid of the race pi. And we're going to set the diversity parameter. Oops. And now you've got this first generation. And you can leave it at none. And we're going to do that for all the other. This one is going to be the race. I'll select race. And finally, we're going to select gender. Okay, the reason we're doing this is because if we do just a filter, we don't want to filter on just female or male or just white, Hispanic, or international, or first gen or non-first gen. We want this down here to reflect whatever we select up here. So now let's come to the program class. We're going to create another calculated field here. This is, we call this diversity color. And so what we're going to say is if diversity parameter equals race, then it's going to be race. If the diversity parameter is gender, sorry, I forgot to make it a little bit bolder. So we've already set the diversity parameter on those actions. I'll have to double check to make sure I've got this name right here. But as you go to each one, depending on what you select, then this color is going to come over. This is a different field, and so the colors are not aligned like you have on your first page. So we're going to have diversity color here. Null. Well, that's a problem. So let's come back here. What is the diversity first gen? What does that say? First gen, okay. And let's show the parameter. Okay, we haven't set the parameter yet. So let's come here. We're going to set this. All right, so now the colors have changed. This is what I was talking about. Male and female. We've got gender, male and female is not the colors that we were expecting. We'd have male here, female there. Okay. That looks right. And now if we select over here, this is going to change to diversity. And this is where it's going to get a little more complicated. So we're going to have to say white is purple, international. Well, let's do first gen first. Okay, first gen. That actually is the default. So diversity color is yes. It's sophomore. And we actually may want, that's fine. So let's come here. White, purple. This multi-race, unknown. Unknown. International. Hispanic. This is interesting. I didn't know that we would have any unknown freshman race. Oh, you know, the issue is that I made these three linked. I didn't make the program count linked. So let's come to apply worksheets. Now we're going to do program class, and that should take care of that. This would say for civil engineering, we don't have any sophomores. First gen. And when you unselect it, it keeps that same color. Business analytics, nothing. So what I'm going to do is, just to make sure that it does, there's always something there, I'm going to change this to white. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? This is going to be a little trick. Let's change this background. Let's change it to none, right? What we're going to do is we're going to bring a text box over, put it in the same place right here, and we're going to say no student enrollment. I'm going to make this big. Let's make it 36. Bold. We'll change it to something. And we're going to change this background to white. And so now, if you don't have any data, now look what's going to happen when you select chemistry. You still have this no student enrollment. So what we need to do is we need to move this to the back. Floating order, send to back. So now you don't see it if there's something there, but if there's nothing there, it's interesting that we've got 100% for these other items. And so now we're going to start. Enrolled student is 2. Oh, you know what the issue is? Is that there's no undergraduate. Remember, we filtered those out. So let's come back. This gets a little bit confusing because you can't select this no student enrollment. So you have to come over here under layout, no student enrollment, select it there, and now you can edit. Don't judge me because I can't spell. Just make this a little bigger. And now you can start to, let's see where these are. And now we're going to come through and we're going to make some changes to the program class. We're going to get rid of this. Get rid of the grid lines. And then we're going to put a label. And we're going to, so you have an idea. And I might actually, under program class, I might just put down diversity color. And we're just going to put, I just X, copied and pasted so I keep the formatting. And we don't need the class because we already know what class it is because we're hovering over it. Diversity color. So now when you hover over it, you'll actually, so then you know, okay. And we should go back and we're going to format these as well. I'm just going to go through it fast. Yeah, that last little bit is a little bit tricky sometimes. You're never sure if you're going to get these sizes correct. This is very interesting. You might make these numbers a little bigger. All right, so there you go. I'm going to put a copy of this finished product out on my Patreon page. So go out there, subscribe or support me through Patreon and get access to this and all the information and see if you can follow along. It's been fun. I hope you'll check out these other cool videos that I've selected for you. Let me know what you think in the comments below.